Yeah, welcome everybody out there. Some of you regular Beatport users and fans might be familiar with the Beatport's Beat in School campaign that was launched earlier this year. And the Association for Electronic Music and Beats in School, we kind of like joined forces to come up with an advisory session. This is the first of a series we are starting. And I have the pleasure to host this one as one of the representatives of the Association for Electronic Music. My name is Ralf Kollmann. I'm running Mobilee Records and also a management company called I Am Management, individual artist and music management. And on the other side, we have the winner of the first Beats in School competition that was curated and hosted by Circus Recordings. And Yusuf was the one who decided for you.
Who gave me the news? That's correct, yes. Hi, everyone. My name's TAYA. I'm known for my productions as TAYA. And yeah, I'm the very first Beats in School competition winner. And I'm absolutely stoked. So, yeah, been pretty hard at work. And right now, I'm just going to be talking to Ralf about, I guess sort of the management side of things in this industry. Yeah.
First of all, congratulations for.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you so much.
I don't know how many people submitted music. Probably hundreds, maybe thousands. And
yeah, there were quite a few.
To make it to the top, and then also if somebody like Yusuf, who is also like in the scene since ages and has hopefully a good taste and is decided for you, that's probably a good start in a career. So what's the idea of this new series? It's about like the talents or the winners of this competition have the chance to get some insights, sharing some experiences about like management, about music rights and so on. The topic today will be the music management, artist management side, but I guess we're opening it up to all kind of topics and questions related to electronic music, dance music culture, and so on. So, so you're in Australia right now.
Yes, I was in Bali, living over there, but I chose to come back to Australia to my rainforest house where my big studio is, just so I can purely focus on my production and everything that's in store for me for the next year. Because I need to be away from everything, away from distractions, all that, so I can properly focus. Yeah.
For young talent,
Sorry.
For a young talent who is doing his first steps in electronic music business, you seem to have quite a proper studio environment and like a good setup.
Oh, buddy, I've been making music for almost 20 years now. So, but absolutely, absolutely every penny that I make goes towards a musical instrument or like, acoustic treatment or whatever. I just love it.
Is there still something you need advice on then? Because it seems like you're pretty at a decent place already.
Sure. Yes, there's always room for learning. I'd love to know about the industry side of things, because I absolutely have no idea. Really, as I'm sure a lot of bedroom producers are as well. Like, what makes a good artist manager? What are the top 5 things you look for in an artist manager?
Yeah, this is a very general question, of course, and I think that if I look back at my career, my experience from the last like almost 12 years right now, it needs to be like it's a very individual decision you take as an artist, because every artist has a different vision, idea, and a different setup and configuration, and an artist manager just needs to fit to this vision and idea. And I think the most important thing is that the artist manager shares your vision as an artist. You need to have like an understanding of what you do, and the artist artist, the manager or the management company needs to 100% be convinced what we are doing and backing you up with everything you're doing and believing in you. I think that's like one of the first steps to if you're like starting to reach out to managements. And
absolutely, I would totally agree. Someone definitely has to believe in your vision to get you, I guess.
And that's and then the next point is like, so where are you? And so at what point in your career are you? Are you in the very beginning, or do you want to move forward and already? Did you already make your first step in the career? Are you already like set up with a good booking agency? Is your business running already, and so on? So these are all things you to consider if you look for an artist manager who's like helping you. And I must say, at the beginning, sometimes it's just like your own collective that you're like setting up, you know. And every time when I talk to young producers, young DJs, artists, I always like give them an advice to, before you start making a global career, try to make your first steps in your local environment. You know, like make sure that you set up a good just like a good infrastructure in your own city, for example. And especially these days, it's very difficult to have instant success as a single individual. Sure. I think it's very helpful if you have a collective of people around you. If it's other artists you're collaborating with and like making music with, if it's like a label collective, if it's even like the friend who is maybe helping you at the beginning with like social media stuff, with some designs, with like photo shootings and so on. I think so sometimes like young artists, they are always aiming like for the highest goals, you know, and then it's like, yeah, like, I don't know, like just like looking for a manager just to have one. But I think the most important thing is make something as an artist that is worth to manage.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Do you think it's important surrounding yourself with, other people in the industry, or do you think it's even important to, say for someone like myself who is quite on their way to becoming something, do you think it's important to maybe move to a city such as like Berlin or Ibiza just to be surrounded by the bigger artists, the bigger names in the industry? Yeah, it can be helpful, but at the moment I see the tendency that that some artists or creative people are leaving this, let's say, metropolitan cities. You know, like London and Berlin and New York. I think that these were the melting points of creativity in art, fashion, music, and these cities are also they become very expensive to survive and to live in. So, and at the moment, I see like a kind of a counter movement that that people move away or like find other quiet places or spaces to be creative. And thank God to the internet. It's maybe not that important anymore. That's correct. Yes.
To meet the cool guys in the bar every night or in the club, and on top we have a lot of let's say, industry events during the year. Like next week, there's ADE, there's IMS in Ibiza.
Oh yeah, I love ADE. I went to ADE. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Yes. And I think it's these are very good opportunities for artists to connect to the industry, to like-minded people, to other artists, and so on. So yeah, but again, this is a very individual decision. You know.
Yes, for sure.
How do you feel about like being in Australia? Like it's do you feel a little bit disconnected to what's happening in the rest of the world, or?
Yeah, well, that's it's partially why I asked you if you believe that it would be better for someone like me to be in Berlin or whatever. But you know what? I feel like I connect and write better music when I'm in a secluded space like my rainforest house, which I'm at right now. I mean, I worked great in Bali as well, but I feel like the music that I write is completely different in different areas where I am. But yeah, like you said, we've got the internet now, and I'm happy to travel if there's a gig that's worth playing. And if they want me, then it's easy enough to just hop on a plane now.
May I ask you, like, so what is your actual configuration or setup? So you said that you're producing music since like 20 years?
Yeah, almost 20 years. So
do you already have like a booking agency? Are you touring a lot, or is this something that is important for you, or do you just want to focus on the production side and just like making music and making money with music, just producing music? Is this something that's possible in your setup?
Yeah, I stopped DJing so many gigs, so many like regular gigs, because I really wanted to focus on my production, because I thought that it was worth giving it a shot and really focusing on that, and it's paid off. Yeah, I'd like to tour more with my own music, which is what I'm focusing on now. I'm working with a few different Australian labels. I'm not with any booking agencies. I was hoping that we could sort something out with Circus Recordings, and maybe get over to Europe maybe next summer if I really focus and get some music out. But yeah, at the moment I'm working with a few Aussie labels, including Basic Records, Recovery Collective, and yeah, I'm gonna be doing an East Coast tour in Australia. When is it? Late December. But as for booking agencies, no, I don't have a booking agent. I wouldn't really know what to look for, which is what I really wanted to ask you about. Like how would I go about getting a booking agent? Would they approach me, or is it something that I would do, or would I need a manager for that?
Yeah, I would say it's like, I think it's depending on, again, what you're looking for. And like if you if you're depending on something you're rooting for, like to play internationally and to have regular bookings, to also like make your living and to push a career forward, then the first thing, unfortunately, that needs to be there is a demand for you as an artist. And
absolutely.
If you want to partner up with one of the established booking agencies, yeah, you need to be on. You need to have like a specific status already. Unfortunately, these days. Why?
Yeah.
Because there are like thousands of DJs out there, and it's,
absolutely, yeah.
It's a jungle, and it's very difficult, really, to make a DJ career these days. So, with you being like the winner of this competition, and like having some media attention, and then hopefully having a few more successful releases in the future, that would be very helpful to get the attention you need to get picked up by a booking agency. If you have a manager in place, of course, he is like helping you with finding the right booking agency for you. A good manager usually has its network, and also can be like a multiplier, because like if a manager is involved, that means a manager is also like kind of acting as a filter. So if a manager is taking you on and helping you to build up your career, this is an additional benefit, of course, for a booking agency to work with you, because they can hopefully rely on professional background and professional management, where media, PR, logistics, and everything that's necessary to build you up as a career is taken care of.
Yeah, so you can purely focus just on what you do best, which is the music, correct?
Yeah, so this is why I was asking you earlier. So is it possible for you to survive, let's say, from just making music? Because this is also, like, from the management perspective, like one of the most important things to take care of, to make sure that all the music rights aspects are like organized, sorted, and covered. And this is a very complex world, where an artist who just wants to be creative and produce music sometimes doesn't have the interest or just doesn't have the headspace to look after. And especially with electronic music and like the transformation we went through in the last 10 years, from like physical to digital downloads to streaming. So we are like touching so many different levels and layers of revenue streams. It's very important to have taken care of this kind of stuff. So how does it work for you at the moment? In general, it's very, very difficult to live from that.
Well, it is. However, I have quite a good name for myself in Byron Bay, where I'm from, as a DJ. So I do keep a couple of gigs, maybe 1 or 2 per week, and I can live off that if I do my gigs and I come back, and then I can focus for like the rest of the week. I'm actually pretty lucky the way I've sort of built my career like that. Yeah, so I do get a lot of time to focus on my actual production, but I mean, I'm not killing it, making heaps of money, but I can still live off what I make, just off a couple of gigs a week. So that's pretty good. I'm like,
do you have a publisher?
I don't know.
No, okay, because like if you're doing like music since 20 years, and are you just like, how many tracks did you, or how many EPs, singles did you release already?
Good question. So way back when I started making music, I was writing psytrance, like progressive psytrance, and I mean, I used to write so many tracks, and I mean, I said this in that last interview, for the first 4 years, I actually didn't finish a track. I'd make a song and it'd almost be finished, or it'd just be a loop, and there'd just be loops and loops and loops, and a graveyard of unfinished songs on my computer. Anyway, so I did finish quite a few after 4 years, and then I stopped, but I never released any. I got asked to release a few, but never did it. And then I stopped making music, and then started back up about 2 years later. And I only released 2 with like a G House label. And then maybe 2 years later, I released another one. And it's only in this last year that I've started actually releasing songs, which is, it's crazy because, I mean, I should have released hundreds by now, but I just never really focused on it. It's only when I really focused on and believed like it could be my career, then I sort of pulled my finger out and got to it. And I've released I released a track on a compilation album by Basic Records and Recovery Collective 2 days ago. But I think there's been about 6 releases this year alone.
Okay. This is a very interesting story, because in a way this is probably reflecting the story of a lot of people who hopefully
absolutely
right now, because this is the DJ culture, producer culture we're living in. So like I guess most of the people who are also like actual Beatport users and were like buying their music on Beatport and producing at home, were using Ableton and Native Instruments and like all that stuff. They probably have the same story like you, and I think that's very important. I mean, you really need to embrace and accept that in electronic music culture, especially, that there will always be like this professional level of people who are like making good money with it and we are like properly managed and so on. But we have a lot of people who are just doing it for the passion. And we're doing it at home. We even spend a lot of money in like buying music on Beatport or like finding music wherever. And we're setting up a studio at home and also investing a lot of money there. And just
absolutely.
Like for the passion of doing music. And I think that's also very important. Maybe also like a little advice from the management of music label experience, A&R experience I made. It's like, if you put too much pressure on yourself, like I want to release something, I want to be there, I want to do this, I want to do that, it might block your creativity, or like kind of like you can lose the lightness you start originally with like doing what you're doing. So in a way, what happened to you or what's happening to you here right now, or hopefully, is like it's a very interesting story, and like definitely something that then at one point a management or booking agency is interested in picking up, because you have a lot of experiences, you have personality, a character, you know how to produce music, and and you can choose like what way or like what path to choose next, and like how to move on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you said people are just doing it for their passion, because that's actually what I just did for the last, almost 20 years. I mean, as you can see, look at all the equipment that I bought, and it's not like I ever really started putting out music until, the last 2-3 years or whatever. But yeah, I think a lot of people are the same. They're just doing it for the passion. It's sort of good. So a few other questions. I wanted to know a couple of my favorite artists are like Booker Shade or Sasha or like Rodriguez Jr. who works with you a bit with your label. What are some tips that you might have for me to I don't know, reach a level of their status?
Mm-hmm. Especially Booker Shade and Rodriguez Jr. They're live performers. They're live acts, live bands.
They are, yeah.
And also Sasha, I had the chance to get to know him personally, like this year, because like funny enough, Rodriguez Jr. was part of his like live performance at the Barbican Centre in London this year, and I think all three are definitely exceptional artists who are real musicians, who have like an outstanding talent, really like producing music, collaborating with other artists, who have like a musical understanding that's beyond technical understanding and how to use a sequencer and plugins, and
yes.
And I think it's also important as an electronic music producer, especially like. The new generation is used to do great things with smallest setups. Great, it's the future.
Absolutely.
It's the now and the future. But I would always try to motivate everybody to think a little bit outside of the box. There's like so much more to discover. Why not like still trying to learn real instruments? Why not like playing around with the guitar, with the bass, with the piano, with the trumpet or whatever. So
absolutely agree.
And also please also look back, because we are like sometimes like we are like caught in this electronic music bubble, but which is also based on the social media environment we are living in. Like the filter, the so-called filter bubble. The same is happening when you're like only like listening to electronic music and only like hanging with your techno buddies. You also like you don't find new inspiration. And I think like the artists who are like really like producing and working on that level, they have a lot of knowledge about musical history. From classic music, from I don't know, like how pop music evolved from the 50s until now, and what I also see with this artist, they also have a really good understanding of pop culture in general. They know that there's music, but there's also art and fashion and other related art forms that create a personality, also a musician at the end. And this is something I can just like challenge and motivate everybody to look at, if you want to create something bigger, a bigger picture of what you're doing.
For sure. I totally agree. I actually grew up playing in bands and played like a number of different instruments, and I believe that it's made me a much better electronic producer because of that. I understand music, I understand scales, and how to read music and that. So I totally agree and would recommend any electronic producer to pick up a guitar and or a keyboard, piano, and learn. And it'll definitely make you a better producer in the long run. And even listen.
If you find a good manager, this is also something that a manager is creating together with an artist. This is another benefit you have if you find the right management partner. To looking at that aspect. So what do we have here? We have like a raw diamond, and what can we make out of it? And then we are creating a journey together. This is kind of like a best case scenario of this kind of like collaboration partnership between management, booking agency, and artist works out.
As a manager, how many acts do you manage at the moment or at one time?
So I have like I didn't go like the classic way or the typical way of like becoming a music manager, because I started a music label, Mobilee Records, like more than 12 years ago, and we set it up as a kind of like a full service kind of like music entertainment company and agency, where we worked with a roster of like 10, 12, 15 artists, and we took care of their booking, of their releases, of their even PR and social media. We did showcases together and so on. So like my actual like management work already started there without calling it the management department. It was kind of like a little extra deal that every artist on Mobilee got, that we kind of built up this structures. And but in the last few years, it was just like a logical step that we need to separate that a little bit, and this is where then the management company started. And at the moment, it's focusing on one artist, which is Rodriguez Jr. And we have a few other projects and brands, and also like the Mobilee label brand, which is like taken care of.
Right. Cool. And how many artists would one manager take on at one time?
So again, to your initial question, I would. I'm not really looking for like I'm not aiming on like building up a big roster, but this is like also an individual decision of every manager or management company. But again, I wouldn't take on an artist in the management roster if I'm not 100% committed to what he's doing and believe in him, and I also like get along on a personal level. That's very important. So I'm not chasing like a 15% deal of all your income just to grow revenues. That is, and this should, I think this is like it wouldn't be the right way to do as a manager or management company. But I know there are a few out there who would like signing everything just to build up the roster and like the revenues and whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah, right. Is 15% what a manager would usually take of an act?
I just made that up.
All right.
It's an average. So, but this is also a very interesting question, and this is also like one of the main experiences or the most important experiences from the last few years in electronic music. Nothing is set in stone. Yeah?
Sure.
If it's a licensing agreement, if it's a publishing agreement, if it's a management agreement or whatever, everybody is free to make a deal or a contract or agreement on your own term. And sometimes it's very, very interesting, and like because like we have a lack of innovation also in electronic music, especially when it comes to like special constellations and configurations to set up to move on successfully. And I think like a question, so what is the usual this or that, or what is a manager taking care of? Hey, make up your own like come up with your own idea. What do you need? Yeah, and like
Sure.
how can you put that or fit that together? And especially in electronic music, there's a completely different, like a lot of things change in the last few years, and also the management like concept, yeah, or like the philosophy of managing electronic music artists is different than like managing a rock band with like 6 band members and so on, you know. So this is like a completely different business, and this is why it's important to adapt individually to the working relationship you're creating. Now, again, so I can just give the advice if you are a DJ or a live act. I think more than 15% shouldn't be paid in electronic music, because there's always the booking agency involved as well. And it is also a difference if you are like responsible for touring a band with 5 people around the world, organizing concert tours, or just sending somebody to a gig and performing for an hour with a USB stick. Yeah? That's another story, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, sure. A lot of in my experience from holding parties and that, sometimes the manager has asked to be flown in as well, and has gone on the tour with the act, like all the way around Australia. So who takes care of that? And is it something that, I mean, is it something that the artist and the booker has to figure out prior to the gig, or?
Yeah, this is also a very individual thing. Like some artist managers, like it's part of the managing contract or management deal that once a month or twice a month they are coming with the artist to the gigs. Yeah, and then it also depends if it's like a landed deal that the agency negotiated with the promoter. Then it comes from the overall budget from the artist, kind of, or. Most of the live acts, especially, they have a tour manager as part of their booking contract anyway, and then sometimes the manager is also like then fulfilling the role of the tour manager and so on. So sure, that's a very individual thing, but it totally makes sense, of course, that the manager is like touring with the artists like as much as possible. You know, to coordinate on the ground, to take care of media requests, and also to connect and socialize, and to make sure that the artist is feeling well and so on. So it's definitely something that's common.
Sure, right. Would it make sense to hire a manager, say, that you know that you have a relationship with, like that might be your friend, or someone who might have more status that lives overseas that could maybe get you gigs in other countries? Or would you recommend, you know, getting one that you know quite well?
It's definitely something you should consider, like depending on where your strongest market is. You know, like if you are already established in Australia, why not focusing on that market, you know, and make your career there? And then having a manager on your side who knows this market really, really well and has connections and networks there. It's very difficult there's not that one manager who knows everybody around the world. A manager based in the US or based in Europe always has like maybe a sub-agent or partners in like these territories who are helping to connect and who are on the ground and know all the details about what's going on there. I have no idea what the next cool boutique festival is that's popping up in Brisbane, in Melbourne, or Sydney. You know, I can follow that maybe in Europe, in Germany especially, but everything else, I'm depending on other people and partners in different territories.
Sure. Cool. Right. Totally.
Was the question also about like if it's okay to have like a manager or like who is also a close friend or has a personal relationship to you? Was that like?
Yeah. Sort of, yeah.
Because like this again, I think like this is also a very individual thing. But just as an example, the manager of the Beatles, he became the manager because he was a really good friend of the band and of the guys. And the Beatles never changed their manager. Like this guy, and they never had a management contract. It was just
really?
There was always like money flow and everything worked out well until the day he died. He didn't have a management contract with the Beatles, but everything was like taken care of as part of a handshake agreement. So this is like everything is possible. Yeah. On the other hand, like, and as I told you before, like a personal relationship and somebody would understand you very well is important for a manager-artist relationship. Also means that it can be a friend. You know? On the other hand, you need to be careful and protect your friendship. And maybe it's okay. Maybe it's a good advice to have some basic stuff written down and agreed on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure. What I was going to say before, totally off topic from the whole music side of things. Is there something that you would recommend an artist such as myself to, I mean, like sort of life changes to really focus and kickstart their career as a producer? I mean, given the opportunities that I've been given, winning this competition and all, you know, like small life changes, like maybe moving out away from everyone or changing their diet or, you know, things like that.
I like that question actually, because I see that also as my management duty to take care of my artists and make sure that they live a good life, that they are happy and they have the perfect environment to be creative. And that's also, and this is also related to the to the private environment the artist is living in. You know, where is that? Does he have like a healthy way of life and so on? So I really like that question because I think it's especially these days it's becoming more and more important. You know, when you think about like mental and or general health issues in the dance music industry. Yeah, it's nightlife business. There are sometimes specific substances involved. You are flying around the world. There's a lack of sleep and all that stuff. So this is very, very important to have under control and as a manager to support that and make sure that things are in balance. Work-life balance needs to be sorted.
For sure. I actually since I've really focused on, you know, my diet and my quality of life, I must say, things have gone a lot better for me in my career. Like they've sort of were going a bit steady for a while, you know, DJing heaps, maybe drinking, partying a bit. But once you sort of stop all that and really focus, you excel quite quickly. And even diet. I mean, like I eat really, really healthy now. I've even gone vegetarian. You know, not because I don't like meat, just because it makes me sort of think clearer, I guess. And it really helps.
Congratulations.
And even thank you. And even the I mean, I did completely cut alcohol and everything out of my diet for a long time, for maybe 6 months. And, you know, the lack of sleep, even though I wasn't drinking, the lack of sleep because I would play from 9 till 3 in the morning, you know, 3 or 4 nights a week, that really took it out of me as well. So that's something to consider. If you're not getting the right sleep, then I mean, personally, I can't think properly.
If you look at some of the most most successful artists, DJs, live acts out there, and the people I know personally, most of them take really, really good care of themselves. And when it comes to food and to getting enough sleep and just keeping the discipline, because the competition in the music business is very, very high. It's very, very tough. And if you want to compete with the top range of artists, you need to be in top form all the time. I always like to compare that to a very high-paid soccer player. As like every Saturday, 3 p.m., he needs to be in absolutely top form. And in a way, it's the same with the DJ or the live act. He needs to perform at a specific time, and he needs to entertain a few hundred, a few thousand people at the same time. And most of the time, they get paid really, really well. And to deliver, you need to keep a discipline. You need to take care of yourself. And another aspect that's coming in is that artists are role models. And this is maybe another reason why you should act responsible on stage as a DJ, as a live act in front of a young generation, young people.
Absolutely. Yeah, sure. I personally, when there's someone who I look up to, if they're doing something or if they tell me something, I really take that on. For example, Dawley, who I've played with a few times, we're quite good friends now. He told me that he asked how long have you been producing for, and I told him, he's like, wow, you should be big by now. And well, I guess I haven't really taken it on as much as you have. And he goes, if you want to be at the top, you've got to consider it, you've got to really take it on as your job. This can't just be a hobby, Taya. And I'm like, okay, sweet. So I'll never forget what he said there, and I'm pretty sure that was a big part of me pulling my head in, and I'm going, okay, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And I started treating it as a job, and now
there's no formula to become a successful artist.
No,
it
no,
doesn't like do this, and this, and then it works out. It's very unpredictable. It's kind of like a chaotic system. And if anybody would know the formula, how to make music successful, an artist successful, everybody would be successful. So it's really there's so many different things that just need to click. You need to hit the side button. You just need to have something special and good ideas and be professional. And even then, sometimes you are flying under the radar. You never know.
Yeah, sure.
So I just want to check, is there anybody out there right now, and are there some questions maybe here in the Facebook stream chat that we should answer? Yeah. So if you want, we can if there's somebody somewhere who wants to know something, is inspired by our conversation or bored by our conversation. Yes, yeah.
Okay. How can you find a good manager? What's the key to a strong client-manager relationship?
Yeah, so the question was how can I find a good manager, and what the key to for a good artist-client relationship? I think we touched that topic earlier, and I said first of all you need to create something as an artist. You need to be at the level that you really need a manager. I would always say try to go your own way without manager as long as possible, and make your own experience. Try to learn how the business works. Try to understand that yourself, and then at one point, maybe sometimes it's also the manager who finds you, instead of the other way around. And it's the same with the booking agency. What I said before, it's then these days they need to be a specific demand for you as an artist before a professional booking agency or management is picking you up. And then the other thing is the manager-artist relationship is mainly based on a mutual understanding and vision and creation. The manager you're working with should 100% or 1000% committed to what you're doing, believing in you, and just liking what you do. And he needs to click on the personal level as well. There's no way around it. Something else?
Yeah, we've got, someone said, lately I've been getting played by bigger names such as Helena Howell, Trevor Jackson and Ben Sims. Do you think this is enough momentum to start looking for management?
That's a nice question. I like that, and this also shows like the like how social media can help you, and it's not only the manager or the booking agent who's pushing your career. It's just like there's like this, let's say, natural selection. You know, if other artists discover you, like there was just like a question about like, hey, Helena Howell, Ben Pierce or Ben Sims, and like. And a few others are like playing my music right now. Is this a good momentum? And I think, yes, that is a very good momentum.
I think so, yeah, for sure.
More important than getting supported by other artists, by established artists. And even, as this is like a Beatport live stream, getting picked up on Beatport charts is also like a very, very important thing. And this also like circles back to what I said initially. It's very important for an artist to take care of your own collective network, artist friends network, and so on, because this is the strongest platform you can create in the beginning. Yeah, and that's probably also answering the question that it's a good momentum if people are picking up your music. Do we have more time, or do we need to?
More questions.
So, what time is it in Australia right now? It's like deep in the night.
It's 1 a.m.
Well, that's okay.
What time is it? Are you in Berlin?
Yes, we are sitting here in the Beatport offices, and
it'll be the morning there. Yes.
Huh?
It'll be the morning, maybe 10 o'clock or.
It's afternoon, almost 4 p.m. Yeah.
Oh, right.
It's very
way
busy,
off.
and we're surrounded by all the lovely people. We're making sure that your music, our music, is curated nicely and presented on Beatport.
Yes, and very much appreciated, Beatport. And thank you so much. Thanks for the interview. I'd like to just add that I had a track come out on a VA compilation by Basic Records and Recovery Collective. And if anyone wants to check it out, it's on Beatport. And it's actually in the charts right now, I'm pretty sure. The album is. Yeah, or that not the track itself, but the album is. So, yeah, check it out. It's called Symbiosis. That's what the... that's what
I'm going to listen to it later as well. I also want to mention that... there is the next Beats in School campaign is running already. You had the pleasure to win the Circus recordings campaign, and actually there's the Beats in School Anjuna Beats campaign running.
Oh, right.
So,
nice.
Everybody who is interested in like chatting here in a few weeks with somebody else from the Association for Electronic Music should be part, or should just like submit music to this Anjuna Beats competition. Yeah. So I would say thank you very much.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. It's been a pleasure.
It was nice to meet you, and I wish you all the luck for your career. And I guess we're staying in touch anyway.
Absolutely. Hopefully I get to come over in the Euro summer to play a few gigs, and I'll have a fresh new catalogue of tunes up my sleeve. Thanks, Beatport, for the this opportunity, and thank you so much for having me. Yeah, and I'll speak to you all soon.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Good night.
Thanks, guys. Good night.